Hi, welcome to Two Non-Doctors. I'm Liz Mealy.
I'm Maria Shahada.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, we should explain. We're both sick, yet we live so far away from each other. How did that? This gonna be a very snotty episode. Get ready. I haven't
Should we
breathed.
postpone it a day?
No, people love hearing this
having
kind of squeaky, snotty voice in their brain. This might be like a mind trip for people where they're like, am I getting sick or did I just listen to two sick women talk for an hour?
Am I getting dumber or did I just listen?
Yeah, I know that we definitely have. Sorry for all the miseducation we've given our entire audience. What's crazy about it is, I mean, I'm getting a COVID test just in case. I think it's a cold. It feels like a cold. It's been being a cold, but they do say to be careful because when you're vaccinated, COVID has cold-like attributes or whatever. So I'm getting a COVID test after this, so I'll know for sure, just so I don't hurt anybody. But I mean, I've been in my hotel room not doing shows, quarantining. I feel 10% less stuffy than I did yesterday, but I also bought more drugs and I've been taking more drugs, so that just might be drugs.
Yeah, you sound like shit.
You sound like shit.
I mean, I always sound like shit, but you sound.
Yeah, I don't
you have a cold. Like you sound like shit. I don't know what to say. I need a second. Hold on. What is this? Oh God. Oh yeah. I was like sneezy and I had a runny nose and it was disgusting. But I'm like, this is different than my normal sneezy and runny nose and disgusting.
Yeah.
Normally it's allergies, but this time it was constant and it woke me up in the middle of the night. So I just had runny nose 24/7. Is that a symptom of COVID?
So everybody keeps saying when it's the nose stuff isn't COVID, but again, getting it checked. You know what I mean? Like they basically and they also this is part of my Google, so I can't give you too much information because I basically.
Ooh, exciting!
I know, guys. I don't want to give away my Google, which is everybody's favorite part. I just made that up. I don't know if any of this is anybody's favorite part.
No one listens.
Doesn't this feel very much like a kid in their bedroom putting on a show? Like, you know, when you're little and you're like, I'm putting on a play for my dolls. And you're like, da. Like I do every week, I cram a paper. You know what I mean? Or I cram a presentation. You know what I mean? So like I do some work throughout the week, but then the night before I'm doing all my stuff. And I was actually really into our topic, which is a little creepy when you find out what it is. But I was reading these essays and articles and I'm like taking notes to the point where we never even get to half the stuff I research because we just, we have so much. But
I think you forget that I co-host. So it's like I have to put in my.
No, that's not that.
I'm joking. I'm fucking around. But
But it does feel like school in some ways, getting ready for this.
I know, but I'm like the most lenient teacher. Like you prepare anything, I'm like, that sounds great, Liz. A+.
You're not the teacher. You're like, it feels like one of those hippy dippy schools where our classmates give us the grade and then like every week it comes out and then fans are like, this wasn't right. And I was like, Maria, we got a D. We gotta fix it. But I do feel like between the fact that like I'm sick and I'm just like, I don't want to go to school. And then the fact that we do this every week. I don't know. I might be loopy.
Okay. Let's have a loopy one.
Yeah. Loops. But I do think I'm hoping this is a cold. And I'll show you all my research in my Google that hopefully proves that it's a cold so that when I do get a test, I'm like, knew it the whole time. Yeah. And then I do think hopefully yesterday was the worst day. Again, I don't know because I'm on so many drugs, but I do start to feel like I'm getting a little bit better. And then through my research, I'm in the worst phase right now. So it should be coming down into a better place physically.
Oh God, that was boring.
So much. I'm sick. You should care about me.
I do. I care a lot about you. But I feel like this podcast starts 2 minutes too early every time, even though I'm the one who starts it.
Uh-huh.
Oh shit, I'm looking for like, oh shit, where's that thing? And then I think it's just once I start looking at myself, I go, I don't want to look like this. And so I start looking for a jacket or like something to change my hair. But I've been feeling like shit too.
I didn't feel bad because I was telling you I felt like shit, and then the next day you told me you felt like shit, and I was like, did I do that?
I wondered that too. Is like, is it possible, or do I think I have a cold when I don't have a cold? But I'm like, that's ridiculous. This is very
Yeah.
clearly a cold. But it did feel like, oh, you have a headache. Suddenly, I have a headache. What do they call it? Sympathy pains?
Yeah, that's really sweet of you.
No, I didn't do that. I just physically got sick. This isn't in my head.
I will say this from my research, we kind of people really haven't had colds in the last year and a half. So they think colds now, either they can't figure out if like it's hitting us harder because our immune system hasn't been in touch with all these different colds. So it's just like beating us up more.
Just anecdotally talking to people, I think everyone thinks that it's just we've been sheltered and our immune systems aren't fighting off as much as it used to because it hasn't been in use.
Yeah, and it hasn't been in touch with the world because we've kind of been masked up and indoors and just really sheltered.
Like, I never got sick when I was in Ohio, and then I moved to New York, and I got the flu or like a stomach bug at least once, twice a year. I'd never been sick before like that.
Oh, New York will do that for you.
No, New York is disgusting.
I love how Ohio is COVID in this, or Ohio is the pandemic in this situation, and New York City is freedom.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're like, yeah, when I was sheltered in Ohio, I never got sick. And then I got my freedom and I was in New York City with the people and I was just sick all the time.
Yeah. Okay.
Should we get into announcements?
I think so.
Yeah. Thank you to all our Patreons, everybody that supports us. We really, really appreciate it. If you don't know, you can get weekly episodes. You can get monthly episodes. These are bonus episodes. That should be said. These are bonuses. You can get bonuses. You can get stickers. You can suggest what we Google. You can become a Google guest. You can get a signed book. You can see some of our secret stand-up stuff. There's tons of different bonusy things you can get for being a Patreon. So you can do it. And that would be helpful to us. And thank you to everybody that does that. It is helpful to us.
Thank you. Yeah. Follow us on the socials. You can follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter at 2nondoctors. That's the number 2, full word doctors, and Instagram at 2nondrs. And if you have a time, and like people have been so kind and left us some really nice reviews, and thank you for that. If you have a chance, leave us a rate and review because it helps us get seen, helps us feel great, and we love it. We share it on our socials, and it really makes us happy.
Yeah, thanks guys. And then touring stuff, I just added Richmond, Virginia. So October 7th and 9th, I'll be in Richmond. October 13th, I'm in Chicago. 14th through 16th, I'm in Kansas City. And October 17th, I'm in St. Louis. All that stuff is on my website at lizmealy.com. Maria?
Yeah, I'm in London here and there. Next night bus is October 24th. If you are in London,
yeah,
show on a bus. Yeah.
One of my favorites. Fan mail.
Okay.
There's
no saying no to that.
Yeah, fan mail. Don't you fight me on this, Maria. Okay, so if you listen to 2 episodes ago, we had a very aggressive debate about what is the better meal.
Oh my God.
Lunch or dinner.
I made so many enemies. I only read one comment, but like I was afraid to read.
I will say this, you predominantly won until you actually were the first one to be like, oh yeah, brunch. And then that's how we would have had the truce, is you would have said brunch. I would have been like, you're 100% right. Brunch is the best meal.
I had to call brunch on the comments before someone else did. It was obviously brunch, but yeah.
It's obviously, that's everybody. You would have to be dead inside not to like brunch. It's brunch, then lunch, then breakfast.
I thought you said I predominantly won. I didn't then.
Yeah, but this is how I feel. This is how I feel. That's my ordering.
All right.
Okay. But I will say, I think it was about 70% said breakfast. Only like one person said dinner. I don't know what's wrong with them. Who likes dinner?
I don't know what's wrong with dinner. Dinner's great.
It's just not. I'm not like dinner. Like, I'm not like, there's no, you know what I mean? Like, you wake up and there's like, I remember when I used to have cereal for breakfast, I genuinely would jump out of bed. And I mean, it's sugary cereal. So like, but I was like, sugar. Like people like their cup of coffee, people like their fucking cereal, people like their eggs and bacon, whatever it is, waffles, whatever, from healthy to non-healthy.
I was
Breakfast
like, are
is,
you gonna list all the foods?
yes, I am. Let me start. Oatmeal. Then
Oh
there's
God.
instant oatmeal. Okay. Let me show you how to make oatmeal. No, but like I get the enthusiasm for breakfast, but I don't know. I've just been a lunch girl. Anyway, somebody kind of on, this is like not really on my side or not side. They're really just fighting you. So this is from Cheflifechief on Instagram. Anyone who doesn't like sandwiches, it's okay. I'm not hating, but they didn't have a good pastrami sandwich or a solid Reuben or even an awesome po' boy. Who cannot like those? Who cannot like those? LOLs. You just need one good one in your life. And I have to say, solid points. These are all solid points. But you know what I realized that made me a lunch person? Are you frozen?
No, I'm listening to
Oh
you.
God, I thought you were
I have
frozen.
so much to say about sandwiches. You haven't
Okay,
given me
God.
a chance
Okay.
yet. Go.
Okay, thank you. You're being very, very nice. I was like, is she frozen? My great grandfather was owned a delicatessen in Trenton, and like was like fucking Italian deli guy. Like my dad loves sandwiches. Like my dad, like even making his own sandwiches, like happiness to him. And even now, like I'll call my dad and he'll tell me the most boring conversation about a sandwich he made. I'm like, Dad, I want to know how you are, not like the type of salami you bought. And then, but he was telling me my dad's like kind of trying to write a book or like write about his family history. And he was sending me some stuff and I was like, oh, delis are like a part of our family, like sandwiches. That's why I think I have this like extra love for sandwich. I mean, like fucking chef chief life guy is 100% right. Like a good sandwich is like the best. But also I think in my DNA, sandwiches have a higher hierarchy.
Okay. It's in your
So that's
DNA.
some justification for why I think sandwich. And also it's the reason I'm alive is it financially kept my family afloat.
Okay. So it's filling, it's cheap, and they're fun.
Yeah.
Okay. That's fine. Look, I will say when I said sandwiches are boring, I've been in the UK for 5.5 years now, and a lot of
sandwiches.
can I just
I'm sick.
so I know, me too. So I'm trying to, like, every thought hurts. I would like to get it out.
Yes, my love.
So when I think of sandwich, I think of like the grocery store meal deals they have, like these like boring like chicken salad sandwiches, and you get chips and a drink for £3 or whatever.
And they're so
And I
white.
forgot. All right, I plain forgot sandwiches can get really good in America. People, they go crazy. Sandwiches get stacked high. Like I get it. People have their fucking sandwiches. Personally, I don't like them. I don't think they're easy to eat. Because shit falls out the back. You know, you can't really stuff everything you want to do in there. If it's too high, there's no way, you can't even get your mouth on it. So once you're eating it with a fork and knife, the bread is moot. And secondly, I have a hard time swallowing bread, so it's all just a big faff for me. It's a big like situation. But I understand that sandwiches are good. I like pressed sandwiches because they're easier to eat.
I do like pressed sandwiches.
Everyone loves a smashed burger. Everyone loves pressed sandwiches, and I like a burrito. And I guess it's technically a sandwich. I don't know.
Can I tell you about one of the worst things that ever happened? Not worst things that ever happened to me. One of the saddest days in my New York City living.
Yeah.
On McDougal, like right down the street from the Cellar, between like basically the Cellar and like, remember the Village Underground when you go around the corner or whatever. It's now a creperie, but it used to be called Pressed Toast.
Yes. Yeah.
And they would have like, it was like turkey and avocado and like some cheese stuff. And they would press it and it was like $4, $3.50, $4. And it was like my dinner for years. Like you would be running around. It was fast. It was pressed. You could just like eat it on the go. It was delicious. It felt moderately healthy in some ways. And it was affordable. And then they got rid of it. Actually, they turned into a creperie. And for a little while, they had like a pressed toast section. But then it was $8. And I was like, you can't double the price. That's not how that works. Oh, poor Muffin is in her sneezy phase.
Puree.
But yeah, I just
Yeah, man.
cheesesteaks.
Paninis are good.
And we're just girls listing sandwiches. What we're trying to say is we were wrong.
I'm just thinking about how all the reviews that say it's funny and informative, and then just cutting to paninis are good.
Okay, so thanks, Cheflifechief. Thank you so much
Thank
for your valuable listing of sandwiches that we piggybacked on. Googles?
Yeah, you go first though, because I kind of not gave up on mine, but like
I did like 7 days of Googles on mine, because mine is like, like some of our Googles is like, I'm just curious. This one was like, my career depends on it.
Yeah.
Okay. So my Google, because I was freaking the fuck out, is what's the difference between a cold, COVID, and a flu? Because I have it pulled up. Can I just say this? I looked at like 80 of these and I read like 17 articles. Like I really was like, when you're looking because you just want you're basically like, I need my philosophy to be confirmed.
Yeah.
Because I'm scared. So I read like 80 of these, and they're for the most part, these comparisons between COVID, cold, and flu, they're about the same, but some of them aren't, and where they aren't is like where I needed them to be consistent. So just between friends and the internet, being as snotty as I am and my nose being like an absolute faucet for the last couple of days, everybody's like, that's not COVID. And I was like, I didn't feel like it was, but I still was scared. But this is the thing that makes me feel the best. Okay, so the first thing is fever. COVID, it often has a fever. Flu, it often has a fever. Cold, it rarely has a fever. I don't have a fever.
Great.
Fatigue. COVID sometimes, flu sometimes, cold sometimes. That's just unhelpful.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're just like every time, like it'd be like if I went to a doctor and I'm just like, is this like cancer or is this just like exhaustion? And he's like, could be. And you're like, great, great. Glad I went to you. Glad I paid that copay.
It could be cancer. It could be stress.
Yeah, we don't know. So unhelpful. But I don't feel fatigue. Cough. Often, usually dry. That's the biggest thing with COVID is the cough is dry. Then with the flu, often also usually dry. Then it said for cold, mild, and I was like, fuck off. But for the most part, everything I've read about the cold is that it's with COVID, it's dry, and with cold, it's like phlegmy and wet. And it's like that made me feel better because it's just all, sorry, everybody, mucusy and gross. So then sneezing, COVID is no, flu is no, cold is often yes for me.
Okay.
Aches and pains, sometimes with COVID, often with flu, often with cold. I actually don't really have too many aches and pains. Runny nose or stuffy nose, rare for COVID, sometimes for flu, often for cold. So that's been my biggest thing is that like, all right, I've definitely, it's all in the nose. Sore throat, sometimes with COVID, sometimes with flu, often with cold. Mine started out as a sore throat. Like it was just a sore throat for like 4 days. And I was like, what the fuck is this? And at first, my first inkling is that when I eat something I'm not supposed to eat, I often get a sore throat and think I'm getting cold, but really it's an allergy symptom. But after 2 days, I was like, oh, this isn't allergies.
Yeah.
Diarrhea, rare with COVID, sometimes in children for the flu. Sorry, your child. No for cold. And I just kind of want to be like, well, why the fuck is diarrhea on this if nobody's getting diarrhea? Like, why is this even on there?
Yeah.
Headaches, sometimes with COVID, often with the flu, rare for cold, no headaches. Shortness of breath, difficult breathing, often with COVID, rare with the flu, rare with the cold. And then loss of taste and smell, often with COVID, rare with the flu, rare with a cold. Then the other thing I looked up was, or the other thing I've seen on these charts is that it seems that the flu and COVID is like, bam, you're sick. Like just one day, it just kind of hits you, as opposed to a cold is really gradual. And that's what, I mean, when you're your own doctor and you're waiting for your COVID test, because I tried to make a COVID test as early as Sunday and I couldn't get one until today, which is Wednesday. It's gradual with a cold. And that's been, again, helping me keep mentally like, this is a cold. Because it was like a sore throat for 4 days. Then I started to get coffee, and now I'm a faucet. And then of course I looked up charts of like, this when you get infected to you getting sick, to, you know, when all the symptoms come out of your face, to when you're still contagious but you're starting to feel better, like this whole, like, I mean, I'm looking at, I could do a whole paper on COVID and colds, what a cold is, how colds come about, why colds are weirder this time after being inside. Like, I did so much research out of fear of losing gigs, hurting people, just everything. I mean, as well as like, if I have to drive back from Texas after I cancel my gigs, how far is Texas? Like, just like, I, like a crazy person, have like
how far is it to drive from Texas? Like, I guess
26 hours.
But from Houston?
No, I'm in Austin. So
Yeah.
Austin to New York is 26 hours. Because my sister was the one that was like, because I was like, fuck, I'm going to have to quarantine in Austin and that's going to suck and da da da. And she's like, you could just drive. She's like, you're not going to be around everybody. You're going to be masked. Just drive home. And I was like, that's a good point. And then my friend Danny was supposed to stay with me, or supposed to come with me. She couldn't. And then I got sick. So it kind of worked out that like she ended up having to cancel coming. And then I got sick, and I told her, I was like, hey, I don't know what this is, and I'm a little worried. But she was like, hey, I have a guest room. You could drive down here and quarantine. And that's only 11 hours. So I do feel slightly better knowing that if shit is bad and I do have to cancel my gigs and quarantine, I have a place to go.
That's good. Yeah. Well, hopefully you don't have COVID. That would really suck.
It would suck for a lot of reasons. Thank you for understanding. What was your Google? Did you do 3 days worth of research on your Google, Maria?
I've done 3 minutes worth of research so far while you were talking about.
And I'm like, and another thing about colds.
This list of yes with cold, no with COVID, yes with flu. It's like, oh my God, when is this gonna end?
Hey, I'm helping the people. So when they get a cold and they're freaking out like I am, I can give while they're waiting for their COVID test. It also sucks because if I had these symptoms and I was in New York, I could get a COVID test like that. But because I'm in Austin, like, and this place is exploding. Oh, can I say one more cool fact?
Yes.
It's actually one of the things I genuinely was excited about. By having so I was really scared of getting COVID in Texas, and have been like, in general, like worried about losing work. So I've been even more diligent about wearing my mask and stuff in New York. And of course, my plan in Texas was like no meet and greets, wear my mask everywhere except for when I get on stage and in my hotel room. And just really scared of getting COVID, bringing COVID back, whatever. But if this is a cold, by having a cold, you actually protect yourself from COVID because your body's a little bit like, oh, somebody's here. Like, oh, there's already a virus here. Sorry. Like, it's almost like COVID's like, oh man.
That's hilarious.
So like your immune system is already kind of prepped. And then also it's just like, oh, sorry. So that kind of feels funny that if this is a cold, I'm actually even more protected in Texas. Like vaccine plus having a cold makes me like, just like walking maskless.
It's like some sort of mafia deal your body's made. Like,
yeah. Like, you won't be able to breathe, but you're going to be safe.
Yeah. It's just like, I don't know. It's like, you don't want to know the alternative. All right. I don't know if it's a mafia deal, but it's a bad deal. But that's good that like, I'm sorry you have a cold, but great if it's just a cold.
I know. I have to say that was the one silver lining. I was like, oh, I feel really safe. It looks so pale. Okay. Anyway, your turn. What is your Google, Maria?
My Google is like basically, I wanted to make pumpkin chocolate chip cookies. I do every year, but like, I don't know why they're not that great, but like they're okay. It's just they're very cakey. But because in the UK, like it's not easy to find pumpkin puree. Like,
oh, you were telling me that last year. I remember this from last year.
Yeah. Oh, maybe I talked about this already.
I don't know. What is it?
Well, anyway, I ordered it on Amazon. I got 3 cans because you can't just like, you can order 1 can, but it's like the same price as 3. So I have like 3 cans of pumpkin puree, and like the cookies are like, you use like a half a cup of the puree. So I just have all this extra puree. I'm like, what can I use puree for? And then like half the websites are like, oh, well, you can make pumpkin bread and pumpkin more cookies, or how about some pumpkin pie, or how about pumpkin, it's all pumpkin dessert. It's like one did look good. This frozen pumpkin cheesecake looked amazing. But I was
Am
like,
I
what
am
else?
I
Like, is there anything savory?
am
Huh?
I wrong for saying that it is pumpkin? So they're giving you pumpkin suggestions?
I guess my issue with it is that it's all sweet suggestions. So I guess it's like, what can I
Oh,
use
there's no
pumpkin puree
save.
for that isn't a dessert?
Understood.
But what's funny is because I made these cookies, but like Brits don't eat pumpkin as sweet. So like my flatmate's like, it's still just, I don't quite understand what you're doing. It's like, it's pumpkin
Hilarious.
chocolate chip cookies. And she's just like, yeah, but like we just don't eat, we're not used to having pumpkin. Like they eat pumpkin as a squash here. It's like it's
Oh
savory.
yeah, yeah. Okay.
And then like my other friend Nicole tried my pumpkin cookies last year. She's like, they're very good.
It's like this American freak where they're like, she makes it into cookies. Just let her do it.
Do it.
Just take a bite of it, then you can throw it out. And like everybody in America would be like, look at this little angel making cookies.
Yeah. You can stir it into oatmeal. Now, this is from epicurious.com, and this is the laziest article I've ever read. It is actually a list, and some of them don't have explanations. So yeah, you could skip
At least it's better than finding out like their dog died and they decided to make this oatmeal for their dog one last time, and the history of pumpkin. You're just like, just get to the point.
That's true. That's very true. They did skip all that shit. Yeah, you could just stir a few spoonfuls for oatmeal. Okay. Like it doesn't say like add maple syrup and a bit of cinnamon to make it like a little bit more like nothing. Make a creamy
No
dessert.
flair.
Okay. Stirred into applesauce. Suddenly you'll have pumpkin applesauce. That's that's the explanation of make compound butter. And then this one kind of goes into put cloves and nutmeg and cinnamon in it, and then spread it on your biscuits. Make a soup. Oh, like I put pumpkin in soup before, chili, vegetable soup, stuff like that. It's disgusting. Don't do it. Or add it to chili. Don't do it. Use a ravioli filling. Delicious. Sage pumpkin, classic.
Oh
spread, yeah. Spread it on your bagel. Now I'm intrigued. If you put pumpkin puree with maple syrup, you'll forget about the cream cheese. Fair enough. I'll try that. That's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some
of these are in there.
Not bad. Not bad. Some of these. Add it to donut batter. How often do you think I'm making donuts?
Yeah. Whenever somebody makes donuts, I'm just like, what kind of time do you have? Just fucking buy a donut. They're $1.
Yeah. Now, when I said this is the laziest article, number 10, get baking.
Did it even tell you what to bake?
It does. It's just another list. It's a list within a list. Pies, muffins, quick bread, cheesecake, whoopie pies, scones, cakes, blondies, dinner rolls. What now? That's what it says.
Do you think this person wanted to write an article and then they start and they're like, this is hard.
I swear to God, I think like their kid like gave them so much shit. They put it off to the last day, and then their kid wouldn't stop being a distraction. And they were like, just get baking, guys. Just use your imagination. Why are you reading this?
Yeah. Or it's like somebody that like how everybody starts a blog and after like the 5th week, you're just like, nobody's reading it. What am I doing?
Yeah.
And you're just like, but I put it on my vision board says that I'm going to update it once a week. So I'll just get baking.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, it's so fucking lazy. Number 11 is make milkshakes. Number 12 is or ice cream. Number 13, turn in milkshakes. Yeah.
I don't know if I'm not even a big pumpkin fan.
I would do that.
I think I'm British.
Yeah, maybe you are.
I've never like the whole pumpkin. I don't like pumpkin pie.
That's crazy. You don't like pumpkin pie.
The whole pumpkin craze here is not my thing.
Okay. Make a pasta sauce with ricotta. That sounds good. Mash it into your mashed potatoes. That sounds good. Make pancakes or waffles. That's boring. These are all. Add it to macaroni and cheese. Fuck yes. I would do that. Hell yeah. Lasagna filling. Hell yeah.
Lasagna filling, I can see. Especially because I've had it in raviolis. It pairs well with cheese.
Yeah. Last one. Fudge. Seems hard to make. Totally isn't.
Is that you or is that the article?
This article.
Oh. This article, I actually kind of love this woman right now.
Yeah.
Fudge seems hard to make. It isn't. You're welcome. How do
Figure
you
it
make
out.
it, Sarah? Any direction? No. Be your own person. Don't ask. It's like a mom that's like, don't ask me. Figure it out. You're an adult now.
Yeah. Sorry I asked. I'm sorry, Epicurious. You've left me Epicurious.
Wow. Our Googles were like complete opposite. Remember when we were in line?
Yeah. Well, I had to balance yours out a bit.
Yeah, no, I'm just like crying. I'm like, I don't know what it is. All right. I actually, I learned something, I got curious.
I mean, yeah, there are a couple good ideas. I have cans of it. So much. Does anyone want any pumpkin anything? I'll send people shit. Make it a tier on the Patreon. Like
Yeah, a tier. If you give us $5, you get a can of pumpkin puree. I love
make
that.
anything. I just send the can of pumpkin.
Print out that article and tape it to the side.
Just put a sticker, a Tune On Doctor sticker on it. Yeah.
Oh man, I can't wait for us to become a garage sale.
I know. Oh hell yeah.
All right. Well, food pantry Tune On Doctors is on its way. Okay. Let's get personal.
Yeah.
Okay. Where are some unusual places you have been?
Kosovo?
Yeah, that could be
Pretty unusual.
Was that for a military tour?
Sorry to people who, if there's anyone listening in Georgia, yeah, these are all military tours. Otherwise, I don't tend to go to unusual places on my own. I'm not like that adventurous.
Well, you have to be rich.
Yeah.
Like rich people go to unusual places. So all of mine, literally, except for Pakistan. Pakistan was like a regular comedy tour. Unusual. I think there needs to be context. Obviously, it's unusual because we're not vacationing in Pakistan. Like that was
typical destination spot. Yeah.
Because like even like Jordan, there's touristy things in Jordan. So like when I went to Jordan, people were giving me suggestions. When I said I was going to Pakistan, people were like, "Don't do it." Like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I say I'm going to Egypt. I say I'm going to Turkey. People are like, "These are the places you should go. This is so great." Maybe be careful here and there. But Pakistan, literally everybody was like, "Do not do that."
What made you decide to do it anyway? Because I'm not sure I would have done it.
Okay, so first of all, I initially the booker is from Pakistan but lives in Singapore, and he booked Singapore, and I wanted to go to Singapore. So I contacted him about Singapore, and he was like, "Do you want to go to Pakistan?" And I was like, "It seems farther." But like it, you know what I mean? Like I was like, not the same.
Exactly on the way, but I suppose.
Yeah, like it's not the destination I was going. But so Alonzo Bowden was the first person to go to Pakistan, and he highly recommended it. He was like, Umar's awesome, who's the booker, and then also and he got sick. He got, super sick. And then a couple other friends were doing it. Carmen did it, and Carmen was like, it was awesome. So I think 3 or 4 groups of people had done it that were friends of mine, both recommended me and enjoyed it. And I was like, I'm never gonna vacation in Pakistan. And what's sad is like, even now with all the climate, things are even more dangerous. But my thought process is this: nobody wants you to get hurt. It's a bad look for both the booker and for the country. You know what I mean? For people to get hurt. Nobody wants that. It was the most amount of paperwork, and like it was crazy how much paperwork had to get done and everything that had to get done to go. And I will say this, because so many rare people go, let alone like this white American lady has gone. Like the woman that was doing my eyebrows, I remember like bonding with her and being like, she was saying, "Oh, I wish I could go home to my family, and I miss my family, and I've been trying to go back." And I go, "Oh, where's your family?" And she said Pakistan. I was like, "Oh, I've been to Karachi." And she's like, she literally stopped. She's like, "Why?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm a performer and I performed out there." And she goes, "Oh, I thought you were a teacher." She was like, "You look like a teacher." And I was like, "Okay, let's not put stereotypes out there." It was just nice. And she was telling, she wasn't from Karachi. She was from further, I can't remember where she said, but like, or like the guy that I used to get my money exchanged from whenever I would get foreign money. I asked him before I left, I was like, "Hey, do you have any whatever the money is for Pakistan. And he goes, no, why? And I was like, oh, I'm going there for a trip. He goes, you are? And then next thing I know, he's like always super nice to me. And he's asking me, he's like, where are you going now? He's like, how was the Netherlands? And it was like, it just felt nice that like a place that a lot of people see as dangerous. And yes, there's dangerous aspects, but a place that most people wouldn't even go to, I have this experience with. And I don't know, it just made me, I don't know anybody that's going to go there unless clearly their family's from there. And then on top of it, it's given me something to like connect with people.
Okay, wait. So the because I think the question, like the answer got a little
Yeah.
tangential.
What made me decide? But it's true. Who knows if I'll ever be able to go back. And
it was an opportunity you couldn't pass up.
First of all, it's far as fuck away. There's so much paperwork to go there. When am I ever gonna be able to go there? And when am I ever gonna be able to go there? Like I was protected. Like, I mean, somebody picked me up from the airport. There was somebody with a gun with me at all times.
I love how like that you said that like that's safe.
Yeah.
There was somebody with a gun the whole time.
But everything like there were people, literally there were guns everywhere. It's very like the hotel, there was guns. There was the venue, there's guns.
We're gonna get destroyed.
But you know what was interesting? I remember Umar told me this because I was a little frustrated that I couldn't like roam as much. Like I understood when I was in Egypt, I couldn't like really be by myself. And like there was like certain places that I wasn't, as like this kind of tiny white woman, I wasn't allowed to be, or it was more dangerous for me to be by myself. But he told me, and he gave me, oh my God, all these history lessons in the car. It was so cool. I learned so much stuff that like, I don't know, I just loved it. But one of the things he said safety wise is he's like, you have to understand, he's like, Karachi is much safer than it was years ago. And this is clearly, I did this tour 4 years ago. He goes, it's much safer than it was, but there's 25 million people in this city. It only takes one crazy person to put your life at risk. And why would we risk that? And I was like, it's a really good point. I mean, it's also a good point of like never leaving the house, but he did take me to certain things. He was just like, you just can't really roam. So I did feel a little like stuck in the hotel and I didn't get to see as much as I wanted to see, but they drove us around a lot. I did see certain things. They did take us to some stuff. And like, he pointed out, so he went to a private school in Karachi and it was the same private school that Kamal Nanajani went to. And was it the main language of Pakistan is English. So everybody speaks English. And then my favorite part is he was like pointing out places and he was like, oh, that house is $7 million. That house is $10 million. I was like, I can't even afford houses in Pakistan. I was like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
And I just saw a part of the world I just never would have seen. I don't know. I'll forever be grateful for that experience. And I'm glad, even though I was terrified, I'm glad I did it.
That's awesome. That's the thing about comedy is like it really takes you places you would never go.
Yeah.
Like Missoula, Montana, which I'm sure is beautiful. I'm just not an outdoor person, but
what would you say was probably the most unusual place? Would you say it's Kosovo?
I think so. I think that like, yeah, because
what was it about Kosovo? Like, just again, you would never have vacation there?
I would never go to Kosovo for any reason. Like I could like Tbilisi, it is somewhat of a tourist destination. I think, I don't know, maybe people do go to Kosovo. But we were in Pristina. There wasn't really much to it that we saw. There was nothing, I don't know. So it was mostly on the base was the experience. I remember the houses didn't have shutters, like window shutters on them because the way the tax works, if you finished your windows, the house was done and you had to suddenly start paying tax on it. So there are a lot of like open windows or unfinished windows on houses.
Wow. It's amazing.
And Tbilisi was cool. Best food I've ever had. And but I remember I got some really dirty looks and this woman started, I think she was swearing at me because you could tell someone's attitude. And I was like, I was wearing like a tank top. It was just a black tank top. And I didn't realize they were so conservative over there. And I think they thought I was Georgian. And so,
so they were like,
I got told the fuck off for like dressing the way I was dressing, like a goddamn whore, you know, with my tank top on. I was like, what's her problem?
Yeah. She must be so excited to see me. I felt similar to Kuwait. I'm never going to go to Kuwait.
Yeah.
I was so annoying because we were there for a week and I was like, are we gonna do anything? I was like, I want to see stuff. Like we were
It's
in this
bad
like
when you're traveling with people who just want to eat like in the food hall and not like go out and eat the like food of the place you're in.
yeah, of course. And I think you struggled with that, like your first military tour, where it's just like we're fucking here. Let's go have like good food.
Yeah.
But like I just want to like have a cool experience. So they put us in a 5-star hotel, which we're on a military tour and we're in this incredible hotel with like pools and like it was probably one of the nicest hotels I'd ever been in. Second to probably this 5-star hotel in Egypt. It was in what's like the Vegas of Egypt?
I don't know.
It was there for like, it was cool as shit. Like we swam in the Red Sea. It was like I forget what it's called.
Oh, Sharm el Sheikh?
Yeah, yeah. So we stayed in
That's
this
not
5.
Vegas of Egypt. Why do
That's
you
what
go?
that's what they told me it was.
Oh, okay.
I didn't make. I didn't. That's what I was told.
Okay.
But it was just like the like fun part of it. So we like swam in the Red Sea and it was like all this like it was just cool. So that's how Kuwait was. We were in this beautiful hotel in Kuwait, 5-star hotel, gorgeous, a place I'd never would ever, you know what I mean? We could never stay there.
Yeah.
But then we'd go to the military bases throughout the day and fucking we weren't doing anything. And so then they showed us like this weird globe that you could see all of Kuwait, but it was like made in the 70s. So it's like dirty and it has like old, oh, why is that going off? It had like old Disney World vibes. It was just like super weird. And the floor moved and we are just like making weird sketches. And then one of the like translators or whatever was like, knew that I was like, I want to see stuff. I want to hang out with a camel. And so we stopped on the side of the road on the way to a military base because there was camel farmers or camel people, but there were tons of camels. So we pulled on the side of the road and then I literally jumped out of the van and I was like, camels! Like I was just so excited. And so we were taking a picture of camels and I was talking to the farmers and I was asking questions because there were baby ones. I was like, how old are they? And it was just like, I was like, can I get near them? They're like, it's up to you. But it was just like it was the last 2 days that we got to do all the fun stuff. But I was like,
like as if like you
yeah,
can't.
like yeah, if you get kicked by a camel, it's on you, lady.
Yeah.
But they were just so fun and they were so nice and they were excited that we were excited. And it was just like, I don't know. It's like those experiences, like I hung out with camels and camel farmers in Kuwait. Like,
yeah. Kids become comedians. This is what happens. You get to hang out with camels and camel farmers.
Yeah.
And yelled at by women who think you're
a Georgian whore.
Yeah.
All right, I talked about camels too much. Are you ready for this topic I did too much research on?
This one was.
Oh God. Our topic this week is circumcision. Why did we choose this topic, Maria?
I do think there's a lot to talk about with this topic, and we should talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting to me because I remember when I was dating my ex, he had a friend from high school that became like a real big anti-circumcision activist. And he's like sending him a lot. He was basically emailing him a lot of material to basically say, this is torture. And we, you know, as 2 Jewish men, we should be stopping this from happening. And Justin's a nice person. So he was reading it and getting back to him. And he's like, there's certain things that was in it that he was like, these are valid points, but he's like, I don't have a son. You know what I mean? Like I can't do anything about my lost foreskin now. Yeah. I don't have a son. And I just don't know what this guy wanted from me. And it's clearly not the top of my list. And he seemed aggressively passionate for something that was so far distant from his concerns. And he's like, I feel bad because it seems to be really important to him, but I'm just not matching him on that level. But because of that conversation years ago, I've been more, you know, where something becomes in your zeitgeist and you're just like, it's a weird history. I learned like the whole history of it. And then even modern now, it's like, and then it must be even crazier for you because you're in like Europe is like maybe 6% of people are circumcised. In America, it's like 90% of men are
all those dicks I'm going through over here. Just
yeah. You must be like, whoa, we're to see a foreskin. Like, but it is like it's staggering how, and like I'll get into it, but like all the reasons they think it's beneficial and it has become customary that it's not even just Jewish people, it's all most American male babies are getting circumcised very early, to Europe where it's like nobody. And then we weirdly started pushing it on Africans. So now Africans, like we're at like about 70%, honestly, it's gone down a little bit, but Africans are at like 90%. So it's like super weird where like they talk about these crazy benefits and all the bad things are going to happen. But here you have all these uncircumcised European dicks and they're like, we're fine. Like we're doing fine.
Like it's so divided, this topic. I think that's really half and half. Circumcision lessens men's sensitivity.
Yeah.
There. As if they need more. But you know what I mean? Like I'm just kidding. It's just like every guy going like, bitch, I will
fight you. So it became seen as like more hygienic and cleaner and like that kind of more standard, which isn't completely true. So the CDC says, and this is like recent, that it reduces the risk of urinary tract infection, several STDs, penile cancer, phimosis, phimosis.
Phimosis, yeah. Which
phimosis.
I was going to bring that up, yeah.
Yeah, plantitis, which is an inflammation of the foreskin and head of the penis. HIV, also noted the benefits for women, which is if you're with a circumcised partner, it lowers your risk of cervical cancer, which is linked to the human papillomavirus. Now, there have been studies and more stuff saying that that's not all completely accurate, and that like a little bit, but like it's not as clear cut as they're making it seem. And so
clear cut.
Okay. All right. Yeah, no. I'm like, we're talking about penises. Let's be adults about it. Those benefits aren't as big as they're saying they are. And is it worth, like you said, the lack of or the lessener of sensitivity? So like one of the things they're saying is like the reason that it does help with STDs is that things can get trapped. Like there's moisture and stuff that can get trapped under it. And that is where like things can hide. So it's like there's less places to hide. I don't know how to do this topic like an adult.
Well, I read the thing about HIV too, and it says like there are more cells to infect. Was essentially
yeah. And it was a certain type of cell. Exactly. So it's like I get all of that, but like there were some comparisons to like genital manipulation of women and girls and just how aggressive people have gone to stop that. And when it comes to like literal loss, like it's way more for boys. You know what I mean? So it's like it's so aggressive for women. And I also, everything still functions, everything's still good. It's a little bit different with women where really it's like everything is painful and it really is horrific. So I'm not making a complete comparison, but I understand what they're trying to say, which is you didn't give us a choice. You're just taking something from us, and it does lack sensitivity. And if this is naturally how our body was, why can't we just keep it and make our own decisions?
Because you would never make that decision into adulthood. You would just be like, well, I'm just going to deal with the infections now because you're not going to get circumcised like, I know 2 guys over here who have dealt with phimosis.
Okay.
Which is like the foreskin's so tight that it hurts to pull back and like it's just too tight. It can cause pain or difficulty while urinating or having sex, which I didn't know. I just thought like their foreskin was too tight for their penis. I don't know. Like,
yeah. Like
I feel like
God gave you the wrong hat.
Yeah.
And
yeah. I don't know firsthand about this stuff. I don't know.
We don't have penises.
I'm so sorry.
We got everything we learned from the internet.
It's like the amount of complications that could come up, that if that is an option and it is like healthier. It's funny is I went into this like on the side of foreskin. I was like, keep it, it's natural, it's yours, you know?
Yeah.
And then I read up on it and I was like, that actually hardly seems worth it. But it's funny because both sides say it doesn't seem worth it for the other side. Like it doesn't seem worth it to
it is
sexual
split
feeling.
down it is insane. And it's like if you really put it, it's like half the world is and half the world isn't, and they're both like, but I guess for me, it came out, how it's come about seems a little shady. So it feels like it started in shadiness and they just kept progressing it because like early modern use of it. So American, like they basically 18th century basically connected it to mental health issues with like keeping people from masturbating and stuff, which it fucking didn't. It just feels like propaganda a little bit. Well, almost the same way that like
why would the government want you to get circumcised?
Because like, I don't know, the same way that like, this might be a stretch of a comparison. We're basically saying that there's a separation between church and state. But then you have things like abortion laws that are saying, no, this is about, we're controlling this because whatever, we'll do whatever the fuck we want. But this all came out of a lot of religious stuff. Like they actually, even though most people connect it to Judaism, it was connected to Christianity. It was connected to all these, I mean, it's connected to Islam. Like it's connected to so many different faiths. It's just certain ones kind of dropped it because it was harder to get people to kind of come on to this by having that be a requirement. So there's only certain modern faiths that have consistently made it. It's America specifically that then pushed it on Africa that has made it customary, and it's pulling away from its religious aspects. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like that's what I'm saying is like sometimes you're like, well, this is just what it is, and why would anybody want to meddle in something like that? But you're like, but it's so far down the line of what we've decided is clean and what we decided is what you're supposed to do that is connected to religion and faith and stuff.
Okay.
And then we've just modernized it and been like, yeah, it's clean. We talk about it a lot on this podcast where like, what's the like, where did these myths come from? And why did this become the most prolific thing that people talk about? But it starts out with somebody decided it, then they have to find a way to make it common space, and then they have to make it so why the masses would do it. And by saying something is more hygienic and saying something is preventing of cancer and STDs, like, and I'm not saying it doesn't have value, like there are studies that say it does, but if a handful of people get something, is it worth the risk of everybody losing a little bit of sensitivity, which, to be said, women have been fighting for years. Don't take away from our enjoyment of it. And also, even on the other spectrum of it, of our enjoyment of sex should be valued and cared for and talked about. So it's like, if we're going to push for women to have their bodies, have body autonomy and have rights over their bodies, I think the same has to be looked at in this really commonplace cultural thing, which is before boys even get a say, they lose a part of them. And again, I know the basis is people are like, but it's more, it keeps them safer and it stops them from infections. I'll be honest, I've had a lot of issues with my lady parts. You know what I mean? Like my gynecologist is my most
yeah, but if they could have just cut off like your labia and you would have had like no issues with your lady parts, would you have done it?
Where's my enjoyment? You know what I mean? Is it gonna like?
Do you seriously think any American guy is like missing out on some pleasure?
I don't know. I'm sure they're fine.
I think they're fine.
Yeah, but then that goes back to you making that decision for them.
You have to, because if you don't,
then that's somebody saying you just have to look at what you're saying though. If we let women have a choice of their bodies, then we might not have a species anymore. Women might stop completely having babies.
Wait. What? I'm sorry, I'm not like being
no. And I'm just saying like it's a slippery slope. The slipperiness is we're making a decision for young boys to make them healthier and protect them. Same thing could be said for young women of we're not going to let them get abortions because we are protecting them and are protecting our society and blah, blah, blah. It's about body autonomy. It's about having control of your own body and somebody making a decision for you. Ours might be made later after we get a period and you're ovulating, but you know what I mean? You get raped. You don't want this kid. Somebody's saying doesn't matter. That's not our problem. You're a little kid. You could get fucking urinary tract infections. We're going to prevent that. And you go, well, nobody asked me. And I know it seems very different, but it's just about body autonomy. And And I'm making this connection. I didn't read this connection. This is how I'm interpreting it. So somebody can be like, that's completely insane.
I've never wished one of us to be male so hard in my entire life.
No,
Like,
just so we
I
had
just
something.
wish that like somebody, yeah, because I wish I want to hear from people to say like, do you regret the lack of or the circumcision that you have? Like, what would you have preferred? Because I'm sure there are guys who have their foreskin who are like, I have so many issues. I wish they would have just cut it off when I was a kid and I didn't know, like, you know, when you're a baby and you can't remember. And then other guys who are like, you know, I hate that I'm circumcised because I think I could feel more if I had it. And it's just, how do you, that's like an impossible decision for a parent.
Oh, I agree. And also, like, I mean, I have a friend that has 2 boys, and her whole thing was it's about being hygienic and da 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 da, which again is what every doctor tells you and blah blah blah. But then
this goes back to your mistrust of doctors.
I do have a deep mistrust of
doctors.
doctors.
Don't trust them. Yeah,
I don't.
It's very Larry David of you. He hates doctors.
I trust none of them. But the other side of it is like you're basically saying something that the rest of the world deals with, and they don't have a problem. And in America, it becomes a fitting in thing. The amount of dads, I've heard it in jokes, I've heard it everywhere, that they're just like, you know, my son's dick needs to look like other people's, or needs to look like mine, or like, and you're just like, how many times are you guys comparing dicks? Like,
yeah.
But I also understand the ostracizing of not, we deal with that on just a regular your face basis of not looking like other people. I cannot imagine as a man what it would feel like to not fit in on that sense. I don't, you know, it's an impossible topic because it is so split down the middle. It is kind of crazy, but it is like basically, I think in Britain it's like they said it's like 6%, like it's super super rare. And then in the 70s, US men, it was 90%. I think it's down to like 70, 75.
Oh, wow. A lot less people are getting circumcised.
Yeah. So there is like a weird change. But I guess a part of me is like, you don't want to ever negate or dismiss the other side. I always try to put myself in that position of like, would I want a decision made for me before I even was able to make that? You know what I mean? Like, would I want somebody to make that decision?
That could be said on both sides of the decision. Like
on the other side, it's just natural though. If you don't get circumcised, that's just how your body came.
Yeah, but then you have other problems, and then you grow up going, why didn't you just do that? You could have made my life so much easier.
But they can get surgery as an adult. It's just more painful.
I don't think you know what you're saying. Like, okay. Do you know how painful that is, like, for an adult male to get circumcised?
I would assume it's horrific. It's very sensitive. That's what we've learned.
Yeah. I don't think it's just well, just do it now. Fuck you. Like,
I think this is the most we've talked about dicks on an episode.
No, we're so dirty.
Without being graphic, because nobody wants to read emails about your penises. Without being graphic, we would like males to educate us, since we don't know what we're talking about, both as women and people that don't have sons. I should talk to my brothers, although I don't think I want to talk to my brothers about their dicks.
You don't want to find out, right? Like, you just kind of go,
yeah, like, how's your sensitivity, Greg? No, but like, without being graphic, I think I would be curious to know because you probably know people that are both circumcised, not circumcised, like, do you feel like it was the better decision? Do you think people that are anti-circumcision have a valid point? I'd be curious. I did research. It was interesting. I mean, I feel more confused, but I also feel like I understand a little bit of both sides more.
Me too.
But you can write to us, not graphically, at 2 non-doctors, that's 2 non full word doctors @gmail.com. And we're sorry we're sniffly gross messes.
We had to balance out the penis talk with some sneeze.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.